નમસ્કાર, હું આદર્શ છું. વેલકમ ટુ આદર્શ એજ્યુકેશન સોસાયટી.
Hello students, today we will study about some more interesting patterns in square and square roots. This is the topic of standard 8 chapter number 6 square and square roots. So in previous class we have studied about what we can say the number as a perfect square number, some of the properties of the perfect square number, how we can identify that a given number is a perfect square or not. Now, there is some interesting pattern in the perfect square numbers. So let us study one by one. So the first pattern is adding triangular numbers. So what is the triangular numbers? See, if we make a triangle using one number, then there is only one we get. See, now here there is a triangle is constructed within these three stars. So here what the number we get? 3, because it is like making a right angle triangle. So this is what 1, 2 and 3 pattern we use, 3 star we use. So this is the number is 3. Next, when we increase one more here, we get 1, 2 and 3, and vertically also we get 1, 2 and 3. So here by putting one more star, this type of triangular pattern we get. And that is how many stars we put? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So here we get the number 6. In the same way, if we increase one more star here and one more star here, then what will happen? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2 and 1. So if we count the total, we get the 10. In the same way, again, if we put one star increase here and one more we put here, then the total stars, if we count, we get the 15. So this type of numbers are called the triangular numbers. So these triangular numbers are directly not related to the perfect square numbers. Then how we can relate it? See, if we add first two triangular numbers, then what will happen? 1 plus 3. And 1 plus 3 is what? 4. And 4 is what? It is a perfect square number? Yes. It is a perfect square number and it is the square of 2. In the same way, if we add again these two numbers, 3 and 6, then what will happen? 3 plus 6 is what? 9. And 9 is a perfect square number. It is a square of 3. Again, if we add 6 plus 10, then what will happen? We get 16. 16 is a perfect square number. It is the square of 4. 4 square. 10 plus 15, that is equals to 25. 25 is again the perfect square number and it is the square of 5. So here you can notice that we can add, that is why it is said that adding triangular numbers. So when we add two consecutive numbers, see the word used here is consecutive only, right? We cannot add 1 and 6 directly, because when we add 1 and 6 we get the 7. 7 is not the perfect square number. In the same way, we cannot add 3 and 10. We cannot skip any number. We have to add the consecutive numbers. Consecutive one means if we take 1, we have to add 3. If we can take 3, we have to add 6 with it. If we take 6, we have to add 10 with it. And if we take 10, we have to add 15 with it. So that is called the consecutive numbers. Right? So this is the first interesting pattern we found here. Now let us see how it works. See, if we take one, this is triangular number, that is 10. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. This is 10. So whatever the space remain here, if we make here this kind of steps, then this portion will remain. So which number will be fit here? The 6 will be fitted here. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So when we put this triangular number here, both number will make a square, because here 1, 2, 3, 4 star is 1, 2, 3, 4 star is also here. So this is become and square, and that is why these numbers, whatever we get here, we get the perfect square numbers, right? See, this, how many stars are there? 4. And how many stars are there? 4. 4 4s are what? 16. because we add 6 plus 10. The two triangular number 6 and 10. So this is how we can get the, by adding the triangular number we get the perfect square number. Understand? Okay. Let us understand the second property, second pattern, that is numbers between square numbers. Here we know that perfect square number are 1, then 4, then 9. So in between 1 and 4, how many numbers are there? In between 1 and 4, there are two numbers which are not perfect square number. In the same way, 4 and 9 are the perfect square number. But in between 4 and 9, how many numbers? 1, 2, 3 and 4. Four numbers are that such that they are not the perfect square number. In the same way, 9 and 16 are the perfect square number. But in between 9 and 16, how many numbers we get? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. The 6 numbers are the numbers which are not perfect square number. Here also you can count in between 16 and 25. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 numbers are there which are not perfect square number. So if we have given this small perfect square number n2, we have to calculate how many non-perfect square number are there in between the two perfect square number, then it is easy. But whenever the digit is bigger, and how we can find out? It is very tough. So let us derive a formula so that we can find out the non-perfect square numbers between any two perfect square numbers. So see, here what will happen? This is 1 and 4 are the perfect square number. Okay, in between there is no perfect square number. So consider how many numbers we get here? 2. So see how we can write down 2. We can write down it as 2 equal to, in the bracket, 4 is what? 2 square. 1 is what? 1 square. Subtract both of them. 2 square minus 1 square. And 2 square is 4. 1 square is 1. 4 minus 1. Again we have to subtract minus 1. So 4 minus 1 is what? 3. 3 minus 1 is what? 2. So what we use here? We use this perfect square number, subtract this perfect square number, and whatever the result we get, again we have to subtract 1 from that. So that whatever we get will be the number are not perfect square number. Let us see, it will also happen here. See, 4 and 9 are the perfect square number. So when we subtract 9 and 4, what we get? 5. But here the number we get is 4. So again we have to subtract 1 from whatever the perfect square number here. So when we subtract 1 here, we get 5 minus 1, that is equals to 4. Again now here it is easy for you to calculate. See, here the bigger perfect square number is 16. We have to subtract 9 from it. And whatever the result we get here, 16 minus 9, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. So what we get here? 16 minus 9 is 7. So, but we must have to subtract one more number from it. So when we calculate it, 16 minus 9 is 7. 7 minus 1 is 6. So how many numbers we get? Non-perfect 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Understand? Okay, let us do it for one more number. Here the number is 25. Subtract 16 from it. What is the number we get here is 25 minus 16 is what? That is 9. Okay, subtract one more number from it. So 9 minus 1 is 8. And calculate how many non-perfect square numbers are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. So in general, if we want to represent this situation, let us consider one number, that is n, and one more number which is the next number, that is n plus 1. Like if we take 2, then this number will be the 3. If we take n as a 3, then this number is what? 3 plus 1, 4. So we take the two consecutive numbers here, and n plus 1. Now what about if we subtract their squares. Like here we are subtracting 5 square minus 4 square, that is 25 minus 60, because we want to find out the perfect non-perfect square numbers between 25 and 60. So we have to subtract 25 and 16, but 25 is what? 5 square, and 16 is what? 4 square, right? So here we have to make the square of n, that is n square, and n plus 1 square, that is n plus 1 square. We have to find out this subtraction. So here we have to use one of the identity. When we open this identity, what will happen? In place of this, we can write down n square plus 2n plus 1, and then minus n square is there. So this n square and n square will cancel out each other. What will remain? 2n plus 1. So here when we are subtracting 25 and 16, whatever the answer we get, we have to subtract one more. We have to subtract 1. So whatever the answer we get here, we have also subtract 1 from this answer. So to find out the non-perfect square number between n plus 1 square and n square, that is equals to 2n plus 1 minus 1, and that is what? This 1 and 1 will cancel out again, only 2n will remain. So the non-perfect square numbers between n plus 1 square and n square is equals to 2n. This is the general formula how we can find out the non-perfect square number. See, this formula we can apply here. See, this is what? 5 square, and this is what? 16 square. So 5 square and 4 square. Sorry, this is 4 square. So whenever we want to apply this formula, consider this number as a n plus 1 square, means we can write down 15 is what? 25 is what? 5 square. We can write down it as a 4 plus 1 square. And n square. N square means 16, and 16 means 4 square. So what we have taken as a n, we take 4 as a n. Here also n is 4, here also n is 4. So how many numbers we get according to this formula? 2n, that is 2 into n, that is 4, and 2 4s are 8. And see, here what we get? 8. So in this way, you can apply this formula in all these numbers and find out how many non-perfect square numbers are there in between two perfect square numbers. Okay? Okay, let us study the third property, that third pattern, that is adding odd numbers. So what is the first odd number in the natural number set? 1 is the first odd number, and 1 is what? 1 square. Okay. Consider the two odd numbers. First two odd numbers, 1 plus 3, and 1 plus 3 is what? 4, and 4 is a perfect square number, that is of 2 square. Now add the first three odd numbers, that is 1 plus 3 plus 5, we get 5 plus 3 8 plus 1 9, and 9 is a perfect square number of which? 3 square. Now again add one more odd number, 1 plus 3 plus 5 plus 7, that is equals to, we get, here this addition is 9, and 9 plus 7 is 16. 16 is a perfect square number of 4, so we can write down 4 square. So you notice the pattern that when we add 4 first odd numbers, the total we get is 4 square. If we add 3 odd numbers, the result we get is 3 square. If we add 2 odd numbers, result we get is 2 square. If we add 1 numbers, then we get the perfect square of 1. Now you can think about, if we add 5 odd numbers, 1 plus 3 plus 5 plus 7 plus 9, then what we get? Total is 25. 25 is what? Which square? 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. How many odd numbers we add? 5. So it is the total is of 5 square. Understand? So in this way you can now find out the addition of odd numbers. How you can add whatever you want. But if you want to add more odd numbers, here we have add up to 5 odd numbers. You can add 6 odd numbers, 7 odd numbers, 8 odd numbers, and you can get according to that number you get the perfect square number. Okay, so these are some of the interesting patterns which is we have to study in the this chapter. Okay, so this is all about this lecture. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.